that is the power of design, to make the synthesis, because we can have interesting analysis, but then if we don't have an action plan, a roadmap for a transformation, if we don't learn how to practice transformation, then we keep on talking.
Okay, let's try. This is Heja Framtiden, a Swedish podcast on the future. We are at Epicenter in Stockholm at the SIME conference 2019. And I'm here with Ambra Trotto. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You do a lot of things, but you work closely with, or you are employed at Umeå University, right?
Yes, and at RISE.
At RISE. So
yes.
you have,
I have a double employment,
okay.
Yes.
Can you maybe explain the difference between them?
Right. Well, one is the Umeå Institute of Design, so it's Umeå University. It's an academic environment where the focus is on education and academic research. And RISE is a state-owned research institute. It's the state-owned Swedish research institute. So it's a polytechnical institute with around 3,000 researchers that work in many mostly technical disciplines around the country. Sweden has a long history of technical research institute that support their work in research and development.
And you spoke here at SIME, and you sort of gave a broader approach to design thinking when it comes to systems and the ecosystems around us, and how to shape our future, basically. And I noticed you used some kind of example with 4 different possible futures.
Yes, so that was borrowed by a paper that Rian Brandt, fantastic researcher from Philips Design in Eindhoven, has written on co-emerging futures. So he looks at all the metaphors and the drivers and the mindset and beliefs that will generate 4 different futures that will probably coexist and emerge together.
Oh, they will coexist. Okay, so they're not either or.
No, they're not either or. No.
So can we go through them shortly?
Yes. Well, let's say it's 2 main streams. One is where are my notes?
Exactly.
2 main streams. One it's about transmutation. The other one is about transformation. So the big difference between the 2 streams is that one believes that technology can actually sort out everything, and then the drivers might be different behind it. One is putting intelligence at the core of everything, and the other one is tech at the service of the human being who has the right to exploit nature and as one of the many things that we exploit. So it's the apotheosis of the artificial without caring for the others. It's a very individualistic way of looking at the world that we see at many levels in many places in the world. And then he's talking about another kind of stream that is based on transformation. So if you have, instead of having an augmentative mindset in which you want to become superhuman, you want to become God, but you're a bit more humble, and then you think that you are part of something bigger than you, that you are next to nature, or that you are eco-entangled with nature, then you can create different kinds of future. And he has these 2 examples. One is Abitania and the other one is Gaia. Abitania is more like working with sustainability, and it has its limitation, but of course it is better than just forgetting about nature. Now we realize that we can't really pretend that it doesn't exist. It's not everything at our service. And then Gaia is very much like completely shifting the point of view of how we transform. And we do not transform for consumers, but we do transform the world around us in complete respect of nature and serving nature. Which, I mean, as a designer, I really appreciate the complete shift of perspective, because then it opens it opens up a different way of doing things, of looking at proposing different possibilities. So that's why I find it fascinating.
Yeah, so Gaia is humans entangled with the ecosystem.
Yes, yeah.
As you said, this is a business environment we're in now, and you question sort of this talk about sustainable growth. What is it really? And maybe we should shift the whole purpose and the KPIs away from profit, and look at something else.
Yes, definitely.
Do you think that
do you think realistic?
that sort of shift is possible?
I don't know if it is possible. I think it's worth a try, and it can be done at very different levels. We're doing a really interesting work within RISE in designing what can be enablers of a culture that we're sharing. And these kind of enablers are sort of like soft mechanism that will create the culture that we want for RISE, that responds to a series of values and a vision that we have there. And one of them is working exactly on the creation of value and the incentives that certain KPIs the kind of behaviors that they elicit, the kind of behaviors that they empower. And we're working on also translating the different KPIs at the different levels of the organization, because not everybody should have the same goal, should work towards the same concrete purpose. But we should have tools to understand how do I, in my everyday work, it doesn't matter what I do, how do I find ways of creating a specific kind of value. So I think that there are many instances, many attempts to do that. I think that design provides a very interesting perspective to this kind of conversation, because it has this holistic perspective of not like trying to solve a problem, but looking at the system and trying to see where the system can be tweaked in order to transform it into a more desirable situation.
Yeah, and when we talk about KPIs, it means key
performance indicators. Yes,
basically what we measure.
Exactly, what is measured, and there are things that that can be easily measured, but. And I was really happy to hear it from the CEO of Microsoft in Sweden, that they give sometimes a sort of a fake reassurance. We want to have ways of measuring to be sure that we've done our homework, but maybe that is actually having a completely different impact than the impact that we would like to have or that we're expected to have. So rethinking how those performance indicator are designed and shaped is crucial, I think, in this moment.
Maybe it is a lack of better words. I mean, there's a language question as well, right?
Absolutely, and this is something that. Again, in this internal work that we have on enablers is coming out very often. It is a question of language. There is a clash in the languages that are used within an organization, different parts of an organization, but also across sectors. And maybe the same word can mean the same, completely different things. And this is again where the power of design lies, because if we only talk. And of course, a conversation are really important, and creating a common language is really important. But if we only talk, we have the risk of lingering in abstraction. But if we prototype, we have artifacts that are an example, that are excuses for more concrete conversation, that are like artifacts of negotiation. You talk about something concrete. So even if you're designing a new business model, you can make a physical representation of it. And that gives a completely different way of developing than the more traditional one of like sitting around the table and discussing it, or using an Excel sheet.
Yeah, because everything is designed more or less. So that's your approach, right? I mean, the systems that we are connected to are designed, and the governance and the political system is designed. So that's why you can use that kind of visualization tools maybe to make these things more concrete to people.
Yeah, definitely.
And you also mentioned one interesting development in the world is that nature has become a legal entity in some countries. Would you see this going? I mean, is it really is it working?
I have no idea. We should check it out. I think that, I mean, what is extremely positive is that this is happening, is giving voice to who hasn't a voice, and we have done it in the history of humanity. We have given voice to women for voting, people that didn't have a voice, and now we're looking at beyond our species. But then again, what is us and what is not? We're made half of microbes and half of cells. So where is the end of me and where is the beginning of nature? And can we stop separating the two things? We have lived in the separation of the mind and the body, and we have given the mind a higher recognition compared to the body. Now this is like slowly changing and finding a new balance, and then maybe we have to do the same with nature in the way that we talk about being part of it. And what that means is I don't know, but the examples that I mentioned came about because there were issues, and giving rights to those natural elements was the way to sort out a problem that was interfering or damaging nature, but also communities that would live in those areas and would have repercussions that were difficult to measure.
For example, rainforest in Ecuador and Colombia?
Yes, it was the rainforest in Colombia, yes, and in Ecuador is nature, in a broad sense, since 2008, has the right to be restored, which I find fantastic. As I said before, what I find interesting is that it gives a completely, like it's a slap in the face. It's like, whoa, we have to relook at things completely different, and that is interesting because it opens up all sorts of other possibilities.
Yeah. And some of the philosophers I've spoken to, they mean that we have to level up our mental abilities,
yes,
maturity, in order to grasp these changes and the paradigm shifts. Do you agree?
It's something that I've recently came across with, so I haven't formed my opinion yet. And being a designer, normally if I form my opinion by working with design and those notions. So since I haven't done it, this is like just a shot in the dark. But I think it's definitely worth looking into it. Some of the, if you read like the paper of Brand and about Gaia, he also mentions some capabilities that we have lost during history. That if you read them with a bit of skepticism, it can sound like a lot of hippie crap. But then maybe it's not. Maybe we actually have lost some skills to be in tune with nature, and that is like very plausible. It's very possible. We live in an artificial environment, and we don't have certain needs anymore. So those needs have atrophied. But the ability to, for instance, perceive electromagnetic fields, or the ability to extend our senses in different ways with different means, they are interesting. Points of study, of further study, I would say.
I would just Google it. So Gaia was is Mother Earth.
Yes,
in Greek mythology.
Yeah. So it's a concept that has been used more and more since the 70s. So it's not a new name. It's about maximizing the role of Mother Earth and like getting over this anthropocentrism.
Yes, because Anthropocene is that humans are in charge of shaping the earth.
Yes, exactly.
And the ecosystems.
Yeah.
And you were talking about someone advocating for a different...
Yes, that is Donna Haraway.
Cthulhucene.
Cthulhucene. I'm not really sure that that's the right pronunciation, but this is my best guess.
Yeah, it starts with CH. That's
exactly.
why it's so complicated.
Cthulhu
CH2.
Super difficult. But yeah, I really like the fact that we're starting to talk about this engagement with what is complex, what is unclear, what is ambiguous, and all the complexity of natural processes, of course, have that kind of flavor. And how the fact that in our next era we have to get engaged as one of the many creatures on the planet. So sort of like humbling down a little bit and looking into what is our role in this ecosystem, and how do we engage and we take responsibility. And she talks about responsibility, so it's like the ability to respond to something and to repair the earth. I find it very poetic and hopeful.
Yeah. And you have initiated something called the Pink.
Yes.
What is that?
It's a place in Umeå. It was born as a private villa of one of the forestry magnate of the north of Sweden, the Skarin family. And then it was given to the municipality in the 60s that gave it to the student corps, to the student unions. And it has been the pivot of Umeå cultural life, the music scene. There are many famous bands that come from there that were born on that stage. The Umeå Jazz Festivals, in that house, Chet Baker has sang and Aretha Franklin has sang, and it's at a certain point the municipality had to sell it, and also it's a Kmart building, so it had to be restored, and all the rock dancing and the jumping didn't do very good to the structure that was not made for it, so they were forced to restore it, but then they couldn't afford to keep it, so they sold it to a private company, Nordiska Centrumhus. And then this company understood that they couldn't just do anything with that building, because everybody in Umeå, everybody that has appeared in Umeå has memories about that place.
What is it called?
Skarinska villan.
Skarinska villan, okay.
Yes. And most of the memories are not sober, but they're very happy, all of them.
I think it was fun.
Exactly. Well, no, they're sure that it was fun, but they don't really remember why and how. And we got some incredible details sometimes that maybe we didn't want to know. But what happened is like, okay, what does it mean to have a place like that now? And we came to the company that was owning the building and started to spar. What can we do? What can we give? How can we give a different life to a place that means so much for the people in Umeå and in the region, and people that have studied there? How do we transform what it has been into what is relevant today? And RISE, in a way, is a sort of a neutral actor, in the sense that it's there to support regional development, it's there to support sustainability. So it's not that we have like a particular agenda. We have the agenda of the people that we're working with. So it turned out that it was a good partner to have running the show in there. And opening up a research environment to society in a way in which it's not the researchers are not in a white coat in a lab, but the researchers are engaging, taking responsibility. It's part of the Cthulhu scene kind of actions. So it's taking part to society, engaging, caring, creating an environment in which we make together. We, as RISE, provide methods, tools to experiment and do things in a different way. We have different kind of facilities. So we have workshop, 3D printers. We're working with the forestry industry for 3D printing, like completely sustainable materials out of wood, for instance. We're working with the ethics and AI, and we're getting companies inside. We have a partnership with the public sector that sees the necessity of having like a gravitational center for boosting the discussion about sustainable innovation. So it's and the funny thing is that when I talk to business people, yeah, but what is the sales pitch? It's complex because reality is complex, and it's going to be it's transforming, it's changing, is we're making it together with the people that are part of that environment. We're like pulling up our sleeves and getting our hands dirty, working towards a sustainable future. I mean that is the bottom line.
So it's some kind of makerspace and also an area for discussions as well.
Yes, seminars, workshop. There is a community. It's a place where the municipality comes to do the unconventional workshops, for instance, or that maybe we support or we drive. It's a place where companies meet in a neutral kind of arena. And again, they're pushed to make stuff and to engage in a different way than they would. There's a kitchen lab, so we have food is always helping to make a community. We have juicy pizza.
It seems like you're not content with just talking about things.
No,
you want to do things.
There are too many people that are talking about things. I'm not interested in opinions. I mean, if we're operating transformation, it's how do we actually do it? And as I said, it's of course with a very clear about why we're doing it, and without ever stopping asking the question, why are we doing it? Yes, so I think of course it is very important to have conversation, but I think that is not enough. And I think that is the power of design, to make the synthesis, because we can have interesting analysis, but then if we don't have an action plan, a roadmap for a transformation, if we don't learn how to practice transformation, then we keep on talking, and that is frustrating.
Yeah, and sometimes these topics can be frustrating because it sounds really good when you say it.
Exactly.
And it's like, and how would you recommend we actually do this?
Exactly.
There's no plan. So what is your best tip for making the world a better place in the future?
I think that making together is a fantastic way for overcoming different agendas, overcoming power structures, overcoming the possibility of not communicating properly. So I'm not advocating for like making more stuff. That's not what I'm saying, because maybe we already have enough. but it is about, and making can have different forms. What I would like to see is this opening up for not talking too much, but actually iterating proposals. So it's about like this being constructive in giving opinions. So if I can't accept opinions that do not have a counter proposals, because that is not taking us anywhere. So what is your proposal? How can we try it out? Who do we involve? Who can give us informed opinions about it? Who can help us, make us grow? Let's involve them. Let's do it together. But actually, let's make something.
And around here, they talk about failing a lot, and but doesn't the concept of failing also mean that someone is winning? And it's a lot about fail and success and back again, rise, etc.
Exactly.
Do we need to keep those words out completely?
I think
and not
that
see experimenting as failing.
Yes, no. I think that it's good to take failing into the conversation. There is a colleague that I worked with that works with the theater improvisation. We've done some really, really good work together with him. And he has workshops about failing gloriously. I think it's great to talk about failure, to sort of take this aura out of the world. It's okay to fail; it's not a problem. But also, as you said, what is failure? It's not that black and white. If I think about designing, when you design, normally you are intervening with a transformation into the world, and you're creating new problems. Is that a failure or not? I think the important thing is to never stop reflecting about it and to be able to maybe minimize along the iterative process through like having a lot of hypotheses and involving all possible stakeholders and working in a certain way, minimizing failure. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I think at this point of the conversation, it's good to talk about it. But then let's also try to keep on developing the notion and taking out of the black and white realm.
Okay. Do you have a good reading tip?
A good reading tip? Well, of course, Co-Emerging Futures by Rian Brandt. Okay. I really enjoyed it.
So that's where we can find the 4 different futures that you talked about initially?
Yes, it's a publication of Philips Design. And hopefully also, I haven't found I got the publication from Rian directly. I saw some pictures on Facebook, and I hope there will be like a movie of a presentation that he does directly online soon. I hope to see that.
Co-Emerging Futures.
Co-Emerging Futures.
Great. Who do you think I should interview? Well, him.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic person. He has done, together with Simona Rocchi, work that has inspired me a lot 10 years ago when he started to talk about going beyond the experience society and going into the transformation society, in which we have global challenges. We live in an interconnected world. When we are attacking a challenge, we have to look at the systemic perspective and then sort it out locally. And now it sounds granted, but he was talking about it, they were talking about it before the UN sustainability goals came out. So when we design for something, we always look at what are the social challenges that we are trying to tackle, but how do we translate it locally so that we, with the local stakeholders, try to address it in the best possible way.
Yeah, because they are so entangled with each other.
Yeah.
So the problems are not isolated.
No, never. We wish. Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much, Ambra Trotto.
Thank you very much, Christian.
And check out ri.se. There's some more information about you and also Umeå University. And check out the Pink in Umeå next time you go there, right?
You're always welcome.
Wonderful. My name is Christian von Essen. We're recording from Epicenter in Stockholm at SIME Conference 2019. Check out hejaframtiden.se for more information. Thank you for listening.